Imagine being a prehistoric farmer and hearing scratching inside your food storage. That sound was not cute. That sound meant something tiny was stealing tomorrow's breakfast, before cities, supermarkets, and plastic cereal boxes. Stored grain was survival. If rats and mice found it first, a family could go hungry. Then a small wild predator began appearing near human settlements. It had sharp eyes, silent feet, and absolutely no interest in taking orders. In other words, it was already very cat. Archaeologists have found a human and a cat buried together on Cyprus. That grave is about 9,500 years old. The cat was not native to the island, which makes the find even stranger. Somebody had brought cats across the water. That does not prove every cat was already a pet, but it does prove something important. Humans and cats were already paying attention to each other, and once farming changed human life, cats became very hard to ignore. For most of human history, people did not store much food. Hunter-gatherers moved often and ate what they could find. But farming created a new problem. Food could finally sit in one place. That sounds convenient until every rodent in the neighborhood gets the same idea. A grain store was basically a prehistoric buffet with terrible security. Mice did not need an invitation. They smelled seeds, squeezed through tiny gaps, and multiplied with terrifying confidence to early farmers. This was not just annoying, it was a threat to the future. Every stolen seed meant less food for children. Elders and the next planting season. Then came the wildcats. They were not looking for friendship. They were looking for rodents. From the cat's point of view, human villages were excellent hunting grounds. The people made grain piles. The grain piles attracted mice. The mice attracted cats. Nobody had to invent a plan. The system almost built itself. This is why cat domestication feels different from dog domestication. Dogs seem to have joined humans through hunting, guarding, and social cooperation. Cats joined because humans accidentally built a rodent restaurant. The earliest useful cat probably did not cuddle beside a fire. It probably waited in the shadows near stored grain, then it pounced. One less mouse meant one less thief in the food supply. A cat that stayed nearby was not just tolerated, it was useful. Early farmers may have noticed which cats ran away and which ones stayed calm. The calmer cats got closer to people. The closer cats found more mice. Over generations, the least terrified cats had the best deal. They did not need to become obedient. They only needed to become comfortable enough. That is the funny secret of cats. They may have domesticated themselves by choosing the humans worth tolerating. Ancient DNA studies point toward the African wildcat as the ancestor of domestic cats. These wildcats lived in North Africa and the Near East. They were small enough to slip through human settlements. They were fierce enough to terrify rodents. They were also flexible enough to live near people without becoming completely dependent. That combination was perfect. Humans did not need cats to pull sleds or guard camps. They needed cats to solve a problem humans could barely see. The enemy was tiny, fast, and active in the dark. So the solution also had to be tiny, fast, and active in the dark. A prehistoric person might not have understood genetics or domestication. But they understood missing grain. They understood bite marks on stored food. They understood the relief of finding fewer rodents near the storage pit. That relief could turn suspicion into tolerance. Tolerance could turn into habit. Habit could turn into affection at some point. The creature near the grain became the creature near the doorway. Then the creature near the doorway became the creature near the fire. And eventually, the tiny hunter became part of the human household, but cats never fully surrendered their wildness. That is why a modern house cat can nap on a pillow like royalty. Then, 5 minutes later, it attacks a dust particle like an ancient battlefield commander. Your cat may live indoors, but its brain still remembers the old contract. You provide shelter, it provides dramatic judgment and occasional pest control. This independence is not a flaw in the story. It is the story. Humans were drawn to dogs because dogs often wanted to work with us. Humans were drawn to cats because cats seemed to choose us. That choice feels powerful. A cat's attention feels earned. Even when it is probably just hungry, this may explain why people still find cats so mysterious. They are familiar enough to sleep beside us, but they are wild enough to make us wonder what they are thinking. Ancient people may have felt the same strange mixture. A cat was useful but not controllable, helpful, but not obedient, close but never completely owned. That made cats different from almost every other animal around the settlement. They were not livestock, they were not tools, they were not simple pets, they were neighbors with claws. Over time, humans gave those neighbors meaning. In some cultures, cats became symbols of protection. Mystery, fertility, or luck, that symbolism probably did not appear from nowhere, it grew from daily life. A cat guarding grain from mice could feel like a small protector. A cat moving silently at night could feel almost supernatural. A cat staring at nothing could make anyone question reality, so the prehistoric relationship was not only practical. It was psychological. Cats entered the human world through survival. Then they stayed because humans started seeing something special in them. The twist is that cats may not have needed us as much as we needed them. They could hunt without us. They could survive without praise. They could walk away whenever the deal stopped being useful, but they stayed close enough. And humans kept making room for them. That is why prehistoric humans could not ignore cats. Cats appeared exactly where human life had created a new weakness. They hunted the animals that threatened stored food. They asked for very little. They refused to act impressed, and somehow that made people even more interested. Maybe the first cat near a grain store was not a pet at all. Maybe it was a silent business partner. The human offered a settlement full of mice. The cat offered a solution with whiskers. No handshake was required. Just grain, rodents, patience, and one suspicious little predator. Thousands of years later, the deal still feels strangely familiar. We feed them, we shelter them, we buy them tiny beds they refuse to use, and they continue acting like they discovered us first. So here is the real question. Did humans domesticate cats, or did cats quietly train humans to keep the door open?